We are at episode 3, which we are going to focus on leadership conversation in the digital transformation initiative. So we have Jazz today again. She's going to be talking on the leadership involvement and why we need to have leadership involved in the digital transformation priority in companies and how can that influence of our regular 4 topics areas: environmental, financial, operationals, and customer experience. Hey, Jess, welcome back.
Great to be back. So maybe this time around, we should start with you. I think it's quite questions, but I would love to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah. So, of course, I'll be happy to jump in. So the question for today is, what role does leadership play in promoting eco-friendly digital initiatives? So my perspective is it's all starts with a vision setting. So leadership, the CEO coming from board and with CEO's team, companies need to have the right vision, and that vision has to prioritize the digital aspect of it. So, I mean, it just cannot be driven by employees or someone wants to do that just for the sake of it. So leadership has to take ownership and attach that to the company's vision. And then, of course, priority towards the green digital strategy. So environment is very, very important. A lot of energy is going into data centers. From the global carbon emission, like 2% of the energy being used just by the data centers. So accountability has to be there with leadership for green digital strategy. And I think between infrastructure side of the technology, I think cloud-based should be prioritized over on-prem. It helps a lot. Like when you need the service, you can turn it off or you turn it on. You don't need it, turn it off. It's very easy to utilize and consuming the resources behind those services. You have better control. You can leverage with automation and things like that. But again, prioritizing cloud-based infrastructure is definitely helpful for the environment. And then anything that a company is doing, we need to measure it. So leadership has to communicate the ROI with sustainability within the company and outside to investors and make it priority for everybody to keep it in the center. Because unless you measure, you cannot really see like what's going on with your initiative. So ROI has to be very clearly defined across the board, and goal settings between different teams, individual level, group level, and shared goals. So again, it starts with the vision setting all the way to the bottom, and leadership has to take full accountability for a successful implementation on that towards environment commitment.
Yeah, I think so. And for me, I mean, I'll take it also like a step further. Like when we talk about the co-leadership and ownership principles, I think it goes beyond just the management team, right? I think it goes all the way to the board level, like who you have sitting at the board level, and making sure that they are equally aligned and they are sharing the same vision as to the CEO, COO, and the CFO of the company, walking the talk and making sure that they are aligned in terms of the vision and the roadmap of why they need to support the eco-friendly digital initiatives across the organization. Because without the board level support, I think a lot of decisions will kind of go in a circular fashion, and then it gets kind of lost in translation because there's not enough of that board level support that will kind of actualize a lot of the funding, which we'll come to in a bit later, right? And the funding is actually very critical, I think, to actualize a lot of these. Otherwise, people will just be sitting around planning and talking, but then they don't have
the bloodstream.
money.
One day get must. Yeah.
And talking about cloud, right? I mean, it's also about looking at all the green technology opportunities available, and clean technologies opportunities available, and then maybe even working with the smaller players, the green tech startups, to see how they can actually work with the bigger companies to actualize some of these technology and then enable some of these initiatives. Don't just automatically just think about the big tech that's available, but give the smaller players a chance, because sometimes I think they do have pretty good proposition that doesn't cost an arm and a leg and the whole body.
Yeah. I see some companies really do with the carbon emission control calculators on their solutions or services they have, to compare with or without using their technology, how can we contribute to that, right? So I have really seen beautiful calculators those companies have come up with, and definitely we should look at those when we are determining technologies to bring on board. Yeah.
For sure.
Great. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely important environment commitment for the scalability in the future. So my next question, which is around financial implications of digital transformation, is how can effective leadership optimize budgets during digital transitions? Which means how can leadership help control money, which is actually the bloodstream of any company's operations, AOP and growth. How can leadership define that control while we are digitizing company operations? And what I feel is digital transformation is no longer a choice. So either companies want it or not, definitely everyone, every customer, consumer, the world wants digital, everything digital. So right now we are at a level that, like, how mature the companies are on digital platforms, that's what matters. And digital transformation is no more an option. So in order to be mature higher on the scale of digital transformation, strategic prioritization is required, like where to put in money, and cost optimization, like what services to use, when to use, and also in competitive analysis, like between the cost benefit ratio analysis, like what services we should pick up, and sometimes going with the same vendor, for multiple services, give us discounted rates. So that's what companies should consider as well, and leadership can motivate and influence such kind of negotiations as well. And definitely, like whatever is manual process, we should consider automating those, and leadership can prioritize, go automation first approach in the companies. That saves a lot of money, human efforts, and it also improves accuracy in the end result. Define protocols on non-digital processes. There are some processes could be a valid reason cannot be automated or cannot be digitized for some reason, some legal complications, some lack of skills in the company situation. So that is okay. But as long as they are not digital, there has to be some protocols to control those processes to avoid any human errors or any kind of performance issues, things like that. And tracking is very much necessary. Somehow, some portion of that can still be digitized. And then ensure buy-in from stakeholders to ensure funding. So that is what leaders can help with. As you also mentioned, like leaders can and should work with investors to align the money stream to keep running the business on the technologies and financial matters. So this is critical. Like leaders has to take ownership with stakeholders to keep the funding coming. And again, like ROI is must, unless like any digital technology just for the sake of it doesn't help. So what is that improvement we are companies are achieving with digitization, like saving human hours of efforts, increasing accuracy, and extra productivity added, and what are those new initiatives added within the same cost. So all those ROI matters in the company's growth. So leaders can consider all those and should prioritize and monitor, and then adjust strategies to stay up in the market by reallocating budgets where it's necessary. Companies and world is keep changing. Every 6 months there are new technologies, some government regulations, export import policies, and even the trend changes in the industry. So with all those things, especially in the US, with the new government this month, a lot of executive decisions has been made, and priorities are changing. Country is investing like billions of dollars in AI this year. So that means like there is a lot of opportunity coming over next few years. So that's where leadership should be very proactive to make decisions and adjust strategies to keep winning in the market. Yeah. What's your take, Jas?
Yeah. So I think the leadership principles behind this and the roles, right? Like everybody has a role in terms at the C level, not just the CEO, but also even the CHRO, if there is still such a role. Like the head of talent. I think this role has sort of been put on the back bench or even diminished quite a bit now. But this role actually has become even more critical during digital transition. Because what I'm seeing right now is when they undergo disruption or transformation that is like new to them, what happens is the CEO suddenly realize, okay, there's this budget. So what do we need to do? But the CEO himself might not have a clear perspective of all of the capabilities across the organization that is on his payroll to fill the gaps, right? And this is actually a talent question. And what happens is then they become disconnected, and the person that's heading the talent team might not know exactly what is this transformation about and what kind of capabilities that it requires to fill the roles. So then the easy way out is either to just quickly open up a few roles, right? Like big roles, and then put out some JDs out there and see what they can get, but without first understanding as well, like going back to drawing board of firstly looking at and understanding what do you have in terms of the internal resource. Do they have the capabilities to actually fill the roles that you will? And also, what are these capabilities out there that you're looking for in the market? Otherwise, you'll be like the blind leading the blind. Then you end up just hiring the wrong people, over hiring, and then some of the internal employees get displaced. So what they should really look at is to understand the basic requirements first. Also work with third-party vendors to test out proof of concepts first and see if you can actually work with your internal resources, streamline structures if needed, get them trained, work with the vendors, experiment, and not just already start filling out 10 new roles and then letting go of 10 other people in the organization. And similarly, just don't get swept away immediately or distracted by the latest new tools out there. Work with independent consultants, who are not selling the tools directly to give you a very neutral evaluation of what you need. And then from there, approach it step by step, look at the existing people, the processes, the platforms that you have. So I always go back to the trade piece. And that's a very big reason why, because of all the things that I've been seeing out there so far. And we need to prioritize people. I think that is the essential for all transitions.
People matters across all four areas where we are talking. Like it definitely it helps in financial. And I like your approach, focus on internal employees first, right? So it it is a little tough at times because of change being introduced, and people have resistance, and that's where leadership play a great role to implement those changes, definitely. But yes, hiring is expensive, and hiring wrong people even more expensive. So yeah, so internal employees training is definitely a good option, but again, without leadership's involvement, yeah, it is complicated. It is complicated. Yeah. All right. So let's move to our next question, which is around operational efficiency. So, in what ways does leadership influence the successful implementation of digital processes? So, here, what we're talking is um, any initiative is that cannot be implemented correctly if it doesn't add value to the business. So, how leadership can influence that implementation is successful? And what I feel is handling changes carefully, as most issues happen during transitions. So when like we are moving from situation A to situation B, and that's, as we just discussed, like resistance from employees and understanding of the future state uh, where we want to be, uh, and the clear vision of the change, purpose of the change, reason behind the change. If everything is not communicated correctly, uh, staff wouldn't really understand why are we doing it, right? And we feel like, I mean, all it's human behavior. We feel like things have been working for a while. Why are we changing it, right? So that is why the clear communication and handling those changes carefully is very important. And again, like if it is not coming from the top, it is not attached to the vision, and this is not strategically aligned with everyone's goals, issues may happen. And the transition is very risky state. So leadership can play great role during transition for successful changes implementation. And digital is like one-time investment, and it's gonna repeat successes because of automation involved, because of efficiency increase. So yeah, this is important. And cross teams collaboration culture is also necessary. Same technologies can be spanned over different teams, and the same kind of services can be leveraged across the board, and investment uh, can be reduced in such a way. And if and with those systems running and at the horizon of the company culture, a consistent mindset will also come in the picture across different teams. So with the same approach, leadership can also align roadmaps uh, across different teams, share their goals, which is a little risky, but again, like it has to be carefully managed, and the the executive team can really help implement it correctly. And if it is implemented correctly with shared goals, one example I'll take here: marketing and sales and post-sale support team. So marketing attracts prospects, sales team sell them, and that's where customer get confused most of the times. When marketing team promises on something, sales team wouldn't really deliver that kind of satisfaction that customers expect, because a marketing team has made some promises that sales team say those are not something that we do. And then but still that is part of onboarding, and customers get onboarded, and now a customer is using the product or service, and then they go to the support team, and support team has no visibility of the customer journey all the way from marketing promises to sales team delivery. And then what customer is expecting now, what support team usually sees customer as like, okay, they have a bug or they have problem, and they open up a ticket and solve that. And so in this example, like all these three teams are not aligned correctly. right? Sales team needs to know what promises has been made with customer so that they can meet those expectations. And then support team also need to understand all the data from the past communications so that like support team know what exactly customer wants, what the pain points are, what priorities they have on plate. And then to that, if there is any opportunity for upselling or cross-selling or even like adding value to customers' business within the same product support, they can do that very well. So instead of like reactive support team, they can proactively help customers be more successful. So that's why visibility across all teams and shared goals is required with this digitization of change. And data is readily available across all teams because platforms are also common within the company. And then facilitate changes. Most of the companies and employees they think like change management is required in big companies. That means like Fortune companies or multinational companies, because those are larger groups. There are different teams, there are multiple locations. So that kind of process is required in big companies only. We are a small company. We don't need that formal process. We can just implement it and understand while on the go. That is actually setting ourselves to failure, because small or big doesn't really matter as long as employees are clear what our future state is, how this digital implementation will help us grow our business, and why are we doing it really? And like if today we are investing X, getting Y as an ROI, so what is the change we are expecting? All these things are important. Small or big business really doesn't matter, right? So that is why leadership involvement is really required for successful implementation. And companies need to be outcome driven, not effort driven. For example, a QA person is executing 50 test cases a day. The goal is, okay, now you're going to run 70 test cases a day. Okay. So 70 test cases in the QA level performance, it is better because so the same person is executing more test cases now. But like, what's the outcome from it? Like, is it really finding more bugs? Is really adding quality to the system? If not, then it doesn't really help. So what is the outcome in the end? So that is what should be prioritized with digitization and DDU roles. Sometimes multiple teams have same kind of roles and also same kind of a software used from another vendor. So these kind of things can be deduped with leadership help because they have higher level visibility across all teams. So yeah, there's a lot leadership can do for successful implementation of digital transformation and processes. Oh, what's your take?
I can see you're very passionate about this part because I can understand. I can understand. I mean, this is one of my bugbears as well. Like when you talk about all this operational stuff and the processes, mainly because it tags very closely with people as well as culture, right? Because ultimately, people are the ones that create all these processes, be it good or bad, and then that shape into some sort of working culture across the organization, across teams. And that is why I think leadership is absolutely critical in providing that vision, right? That vision board and also uniting the people under him to stay true to it. And the management is absolutely responsible to make sure that they clear the pathways for the teams, the different teams working together, providing air cover or whatever you want to call it for their middle management, so that the middle management themselves don't get stuck in a political loop, which is what I always see. Like the top management is maybe clear, but then they have some hidden agendas of their own, and then the middle management start playing the game. Then the ones that suffer the most, the ones that suffer the most are the junior management. And then they like have no idea what happened, and they get swept away, and they are like just churning and like what you say, they are being measured wrongly. The efforts are being measured the wrong way. They just think that what they need to do is come up with as many use cases as possible, but then what are they actually measuring out of the use cases? They don't know. Like not everybody is clear, not everybody is live. And we're just doing things for the sake of it. Just to look good, putting up slides and slides, just to show what is being done, but not really measuring the outcome, why they are doing this and what is actually good versus bad. And that's why I pin it all back to leadership, making sure that they are not afraid to get their hands dirty, not afraid to say no. You can't please everybody. Nobody likes to touch ops. For that reason, I think, because it comes with a lot of culture resistance, cultural change needed. And not all organizations are equipped to navigate that kind of cultural change or transformation. Face it, right?
Yeah.
People want to deal with the numbers. They want to deal with looking good, but, looking good comes with a lot of effort. You can't just push it down to the middle management to manage it all on their own. It's just not there. At the end of the day, I call them the sandwich, the sandwich management. All for that reason.
That's right.
You feel it, right? We've all been there.
Yeah, we definitely. I feel that pain of being in the sandwich, and your point of like doing just for the sake of it, right? Hit on the spot, and that reminds me. A meme that I saw like few months ago on LinkedIn that says like an executive called up a meeting, like it's an executive meeting, like all the big leaders are there in the room, and on the presentation, the leader is saying, okay, we're gonna show next fiscal year plan to investors. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the presentation from the previous year and replace cloud to AI. Okay, so means that is the plan. Leadership wants to show to investors just for the sake of it. Like we're gonna AI this year. so yeah, just that doesn't help. Okay, because like cloud implementation approach is different than the AI implementation. So that is not digital implementation. Yeah, that is like hitting in the dark. Okay, moving forward. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's keep going. Our next area, customer experience, and the question is, how does leadership commitment to digital transformation improve customer relations? Customers, like they fuel the business. So definitely happy customers help grow business even more. And okay, I'll go first. My take is customer-centric culture across the board is necessary here. Again, like replacing cloud with AI doesn't really help in the core, right? So customer-centric culture doesn't mean like you have customer as a keyword in all presentation slides, in every single report, and every metric is around customer. That is not customer-centric culture. Customer, that means is how are you feeling about customers' perception towards your business, and how whatever action every single employee, every single team, and every single project and program company is doing, how that influences customer sentiments. So customer-centric culture is both outside in and inside out balance. Outside in, just a refresher, what is outside in? Like we start with customer expectations and align all priorities inside the company accordingly, so we influence customer satisfaction level. Big metrics are like NPS, CSAT, things like that, like how to influence those metrics, and then align everything towards that is outside in. Inside out is like what is company's strengths in the staff, and how can we use that towards influencing those customer-centric metrics, and like how can we influence customers' perceptions about us. So we need to have, some companies are only outside and some company prioritize only inside out. It is okay either ways as long as you keep customers happy and your churn is lowest. But what I feel is it has to be in the balance because at times you have to start from outside. But again, like your internal strengths are important to align with that. So I would say leadership needs to know companies, staff's strengths and weaknesses, and then also what customers want. So, and find out a good alignment between those points. And then customers are talking to your business all over the board. It starts with right on the billboard on the roadside to calling in the number, going on a website and to the chat bot, talking to the support team. I mean, it is everywhere. Like, regardless of the channel, regardless of the journey touch point, leadership wants to prioritize omni-channel experience so that like whatever and from wherever customers are approaching your business or they are getting impression of your business, they get consistent experience, they get consistent message, and they get consistent satisfaction. So it become implicit impression and perceptions are made with repetitions and with consistent successes. So that is what leaders should definitely prioritize. And I have seen like CX has been quite underrated for implementation. Although everyone wants happy customers, but nobody really wants to own it, but it's risky. So and that also involves a like partnership with customers. Talking to customers is a good way to understand them even more. And then not just that, relying on your staff is also important. Training your staff and empower them to give them flexibility to handle customers the way they can satisfy their needs. Because like it's not buildings that are directly talking to customers. It's people. It's people to people communication and human to human conversations. So, and there is a lot of emotional involvement is there. So staff needs to be empowered for long-term value creation with customers and in the market and industry. So leadership commitment in the digital transformation has to be like very highly weighted and engaged for successful implementation. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I learned that like during my early part of my career, and I've never forgot like this learning. You know, when I first joined one of the banks locally, where we have this essential belief that customer centricity has to be in the DNA of everybody. That it has to be ingrained into the organizational culture. You know, and we believe that it starts from enabling employees and making sure that the employees, the people that you work with and that work for you, are essentially happy and believe and passionate about what they do and why they're doing this for the company, for themselves, for the customers. Because essentially, if your employees are happy, your customers will be happy because everybody takes ownership of being customer-centric. Everybody is keen to help customers solve problems. And leadership principles behind this is very important to make sure that they're hiring people who genuinely believe in what the company is helping the customers with, and then making sure that the vision is clearly communicated, and then they stick to the vision behind it, and also look at, you know, how we are tackling the low-hanging problems, you know, while they keep an eye on the longer-term issues that need to be fixed. Don't just look at what give you the highest investment returns, you know, all the way to when you hear leaders talking about being interviewed in media. It's very clear which companies are truly customer-centric and which ones are purely investment-centric or profit-centric, because those will be the ones where you never once hear them talking about their own people, their employees. They only talk about shareholders, they talk about investors, and then maybe they talk about, okay, customers. It's very obvious.
energy left.
Yeah, it's real.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I in the meantime, I picked up my phone because some messages were coming, and I opened LinkedIn by habit. By habit, like every time I pick up my phone, like I somehow reach to LinkedIn, and you know what?
Yeah.
LinkedIn might be listening to our conversation, and what I see as like second of post, maybe there's a message from one of my friends on LinkedIn that says. Your employees can and will only deliver experiences to customers that they experience themselves.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Right. So
Yeah, I'm sure of the LinkedIn AI listening.
and that is one thing. But again, see, like the message is right on spot. Your employees can and will only deliver experiences to customers that they experience themselves. So staff, happy employees equals happy customers, right on the spot.
Yeah, not just giving them feedbacks and giving customers like discounts, but giving them that complete experience of why they are important to you. Yeah.
Great. Wow, that's kind of a conversation. Really helpful. Yeah, thank you, Jess, for your insightful views, and I'm sure we're gonna learn from it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing yours as well. I mean, I think we are both very passionate about customer experience, operational experience, everything, right? Like excellence and everything. So, yeah.
Great.
To be on this podcast with you.
It's pleasure.
Well,
yeah, pleasure talking to you again. At the wrap of our episode number 3, and we're gonna circle back with next episode. Thank you.
Thank you.